Hey guys, I'm back with another candle review, and this time around it's for the 14.5-ounce 3-wick Wild Rose and Suede candle from Bath& Body Works, part of the Spring 2024 Neutrals collection. The notes on this read pink tea rose, soft suede, and warm amber. So yeah, I have to say this is probably one of my lesser favorite rose fragrances from Bath& Body Works, just because it's not that rosy. And a lot of people have said that, oh, I actually enjoy this fragrance, even though I normally don't like rose, and that's usually a dagger to my heart, because I love something that's like very obviously rosy and like perfumey, and like quote unquote that mature rose fragrance. So I think if you're normally scared off by rose fragrances, I would still check this one out because you might still enjoy it. It's interesting they use rose as a leading note and name on this candle because it's not really that rosy and their normal traditional rose fragrance that you get from them. So yeah, what this smells like is one of those like sort of like soapy skin fragrances that we've like kind of gotten from them now recently. The Salted Amber and Vetiver candle comes to mind. It's kind of similar to that, but it's a little bit more of like a powdery floral version of that. But if you enjoyed Salted Amber and Vetiver, it's a similar quality to that, and that sort of like clean, soapy, a little bit like powdery, velvety type of feel that you get from it. It's kind of like that. Slightly woodsy as well, similar to the Vanilla Musk candle, which was originally Marshmallow Musk. Similar like velvety, soft, powdery quality of that Vanilla Musk candle kind of is in here as well. But the Marshmallow Musk, Vanilla Musk is so much more sweeter because that vanilla and marshmallow is a lot more prominent, whereas this one's dialed back on the sweetness. And then compared to the Salted Amber and Vetiver, this one's more floral. So yeah, but the rose is very much like this sort of like dry woodsy rose, almost like a dry like dry rose petals is probably the best way I can describe it, and it just gives that sort of like once again like a dry woodsy quality to this fragrance mixed with that sort of suede and amber that gives that soft sort of powdery velvety quality to it. It kind of reminds me as if like I had used the pink Dove bar soap on my skin and then got out of the shower and I smelled myself. It's kind of like that is what I get from it. So it's not your traditional like super juicy or wet or dewy rose that you get from other rose fragrances. It is kind of perfumey or like fine fragrance-ish, but not like in that usual department store heavy perfume that you get from a lot of roses. Don't think anything like You're the One or anything like that. It's a lot more like neutral and clean than the traditional rose that we get from them. You might think that this is Pink Rose and Leather because it seems like a very similar name, but this is actually not Pink Rose and Leather. That one had much more of a leathery quality to it, kind of smelled like a handbag, and this doesn't really smell like a handbag. So it's not that, which was also the Rose Oud fragrance from the Oud test collection as well. What this is actually the most similar to, past the other comparisons I've made, is the Rose Petals and Linen fragrance, which was a single wick test candle, as well as a wallflower test in like a laundry collection. And it actually went wide as a wallflower called Rain Kissed Petals later on, and it was the same fragrance. So if you enjoyed Rose Petals and Linen or got a hold of the Rain Kissed Petals wallflower when it went wide, this is actually quite similar to it. I was burning it, and I had the single wick as well, so I've burned that one in my house before, and I was like, oh my god, this smells so familiar, and it smells like a slight deviation or variation of Rose Petals and Linen. I would say this one just kind of like removes that sort of more like soapy, very like distinctly linen laundry quality that Rose Petals and Linen had, but they're very much like sibling fragrances, or like maybe they had like a alternate like variation 1 and 2, and there was one that was a little bit more soapy laundry forward and one that was a little bit more dry and woodsy, and this is the version that's the more dry and woodsy one, but incredibly similar fragrance experience, and for that it's kind of fun in a novelty way of being able to get Rose Petals and Linen kind of in a 3-wick format. But the nose on Rose Petals and Linen read Rain Kissed Rose, Soft Cedarwood, and Clean Musk, so once again has that sort of like clean feel to it. And then interestingly, the wide version of Rain Kissed Petals wallflower says Rain Kissed Rose, Soft Cedarwood, and Suede Musk. So interesting they actually used even the word suede and like musk in the Rain Kissed Petals fragrance, so you can see the crossover, the relation, or the correlation in terms of it being very similar. So yeah, it's kind of fun to have like Rose Petals and Linen in a slight variation in a 3-wick, so a little bit of a novelty there. But if you did enjoy that fragrance or the Rain Kissed Petals, check this one out. It's just a slightly less linen-y version of that Rose Petals and Linen. So that's pretty much it on the fragrance. Let me go into the performance. This is a third burn. It has the core wicks on it that makes the mushroom tops that get kind of like big and sooty and vicious. So make sure you're always trimming this and keeping this to like usually 3 hours. The usual, hot, fast burn on this. As for the throw, it's actually quite light. I would say no more than like a 3 to a 5. Like 3 in an open concept area, very much a background, like very subtle background fragrance. And then maybe up to a 4 or possibly a 5 in a smaller bedroom, but it just kind of gets like lost in the background. It's very much like a light, subtle fragrance. So for that, it's not that great either, but yeah, so that's the throw on this. Overall, if you enjoyed Salted Amber and Vetiver and want a slightly more floral version, or if you enjoyed Rose Petals and Linen or Rain-Kissed Petals and want a slightly less linen version of it, then check out Wild Rose and Suede. For me, because it's not that obviously rosy and because the throw is so light on it, it's a total one and done. It's not a bad fragrance by any means, but it's just kind of there, just like how Salted Amber and Vetiver was for me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.